Hi there, welcome to Doreen Velin on YouTube. Today we're going to talk about sunrise and sunsets. It's my favorite way to paint, and I'm glad you joined us. I love sunrises and sunsets. To me it has mystery. I love to paint mysterious stuff. I like to draw the eye into my painting. I was in retail for 40 years, and I was told that when people walk by my store window, they have about 15 seconds before they're past your store window, and they're going to go look at the next store. So you have to be so creative to capture that eye and keep it on your painting. If your painting's on a wall with a bunch of other paintings in a gallery or in a, like we use a lot of wineries, and we have shows for a couple of days. People are walking, and they're walking past yours. Okay, interesting. On to the next one. They're like window shopping. So unless something grabs your eye and holds it, you don't really sell too much. So my forte is mystery. I like to create mystery and draw the eye in. You've seen that on my past videos. And also with sunrise and sunsets, I find them calming. I'm a person that likes to paint happy pictures, not serious, not into the crazy stuff. I'm into peacefulness, and we make our home very pleasing and inviting to people, because I was a site nurse in the past and did a lot of counseling for couples. So we made sure our home was comfortable. And if that is your focus, and that is your decor, and that is your mindset in life, is to help people feel comfortable around you, then peaceful, happy pictures are the way to go. And that's what makes me happy. So this is an old picture I did. I can show it to you a little bit closer if you like. I can turn it around. Now this was sort of a sunrise in the past. Then we had a lot of fires last year, really bad. I'm in Kelowna. We had very, very bad fires. So I put a fireman in there. It didn't sell, but the frame was very costly because it's kind of like a rough frame. So I just didn't want to throw this picture out. So you don't have to, just rework it. So today we're going to do a sunrise. Now, I don't know if you really look at sunrises and sunsets, but you should. Get up early in the morning. I think it's about 6 o'clock. And look at the sunrise. It's beautiful. It's misty. It's misty. It's misty. It comes up kind of like, you know, the mist and the clouds are down there, and it's kind of like a fog along the ground. And I'll tell you, when we're in Vietnam, the Vietnamese War, now the Vietnam War. Now, you got to remember, the Vietnamese didn't call it the Vietnam War. They called it the American War, or War Against the Americas. We call it the Vietnam War. But we went over there, and when you look at those people, they lived in tunnels, hundreds of miles of tunnels, and they lived there. Well, you can imagine they had to cook. Now, if the smoke came out of the ground, the enemy, their enemy, would find them and bomb them. So they were so smart that they went along their tunnels, and they put little tiny reeds in, and they were very, very small. So, and they only did it in the morning. They only cooked in the morning. Aha. So according to when the planes went over, all they saw was a mist. This mist coming from the ground. They didn't see smoke. They saw little tiny wispies of mist. So that's what I'm talking about. I'm getting little shivers here. So that's what I'm talking about right now. So I'm going to turn this picture into a bit of a dawn, a bit of a nice misty morning. So misty mornings, I got gray up here now because it's, and I'm going to try to do it without covering up and taking this out of this, because it's all finished in the back. I had it professionally framed, so I'm going to try it and tape it off. I didn't think about that, so I'm trying to be really careful here. So we're going to look at doing this this blue sky. So in the morning you have a dusty blue sky. So this is my palette here I'm looking at. So I'm going to do like a misty blue, these kind of colors for the sky. And then I'm going to come down and do a bit of a sunrise and some of those colors. And then we'll talk about trees later. So, okay, so right now we're going to do the sky. And I'm going to use lots of water. If your paint dries up, put a little, have a little spritzer, just an old little bottle with water in it, and spray your paints because acrylic does dry up quite quickly. So I'm just going to make it really light here because I don't want to cover everything too much. I'm just kind of redoing a picture, right? So if you can kind of get the gist of that, just redoing it here. Just kind of brightening it up. And I want it more on the blue side because I want a happy picture, right? Got to make a happy picture. You know, there's a lot of junk going on in our lives right now, and it's just nice to look at a painting and help let the painting help you be happy. I really believe in that. If we don't get our happiness from what we see or what we smell or what we do, life can get pretty sad and really sad for us. So just going to kind of ease that down, bring it down to nothing. Okay, bring it right down here. So it's a happier blue. I don't know if you can tell the difference. The other blue I had underneath was kind of a grayed out blue. Now it's not. Now it's a bit more of a cobalt in it and some white and it's a nice warm blue. Now you know how warm blue is. If you don't know, look at my past videos and you'll see what a warm blue is. And I'll show you right now real quick here. So if you haven't seen my past videos, I'll give you one little hint and then after that you have to watch my videos. Okay, so I wonder if you can see this now. There's two blues right here. Okay, this blue here is like a cobalt. It's a cool blue. This one here, if you look at, is kind of like soft blue. It's like a Delft blue. That's because it's got a bit of yellow in it, and that warms it up. So it's softer, warmer, cozier. The other one is cooler, colder. So when you put a bit of yellow or soft, warm tones in your paint, that warms it up. So if you don't know what we're talking about, like I said, just look at our past videos. It'll talk about warm and cool colors. I'm teaching it to a couple of lovely ladies here, so you can watch those. And then you'll be a pro at warm and cool, because why it's so important is because this is a 1D surface. And we're trying to create 3D. We're trying to bring your eye into a picture and not make it flat. We don't want it flat like a piece of board, right? We want to bring the eye in and make the eye stay on it and give it the impression that it's 3D, right? So that's the whole purpose of painting, I think. I mean, you can do cartoon characters, you can do animation, that's fine. They don't focus too much on 3D, but some of them do. And so I'm going right over the trees here. It's okay, go right over the trees, don't be afraid. Go right over your past painting, whatever it is. Okay, because it dries real quick anyway, so. There, so now my sky is pretty well done. It's a lot happier than it was before, right? Remember Bob Ross? He always made happy trees. I'm going to make a happy tree. There you go. A bit more blue in it there. I think those of us that paint with happiness in mind, it's something we think about a lot. Because art makes you happy. Sometimes we feel happy just painting. And when we don't want to paint, it's usually because we're maybe sad or we paint with our emotions. So sometimes we're sad and we want to paint. And that's really good. I work with some recovery guys and addiction recovery. And it's a dry addiction recovery. And so they're in abstinence of, they don't want to do any drugs anymore. And we're doing an art program. And these guys, they don't wait to be happy to paint. They actually paint what's the emotion that's going inside them right now. And if there's some are very, very frustrated, very sad, and they've had carrying a lot of anger. And I just give them a nice paintbrush or a pencil, and they paint or they draw their emotions. So it's that's what paint is. Painting is your emotions. So when you're feeling sad, if you have some paints around, or even a pencil, we'll do a pencil one day, and just pick it up, and yeah, and get into your emotions. So that gives me a nice blue sky. Now that's a morning sky. Morning sky is blue in the top, and then in the bottom it's kind of misty. So you have a bit of sunrise come up over the hill. I'm going to try to block the sky out right now, and I'm going to have to probably use some white and let it dry. Because that dark is so dark. When you want to block something out from a previous picture, use white first. This is a little trick here for you. Use white, doesn't matter how you do it, just use that white. Get it on there. Because that dark spot would come through, just keeps coming through, and it's hard to get rid of it. Okay, so I'm just going to blow dry that real quick. Turn off. Okay, had enough of him. So that's now blocked out. So now we're just going to try to get some nice warmth in here. I think I'll use my favorite brush. This is kind of like a nice soft synthetic brush I like. I'm going to put some yellow in here, but it's going to be faded out. I'm going to fade out this yellow. So put the yellow in. It's kind of down here like this in a dip. And just bring it up into the trees. It's kind of orangey. I think that's kind of too yellow, so we're going to just tone it down a bit. And maybe make a bit of red in there. I'll make a bit of orange in it. Oh, that's better. Okay, so what I do is I put red and white. It became sort of a pink. And now I'm putting it on top. Now your sun's coming up, so it's down here, but these are higher hills, so they're not going to get the sun as fast as the other ones. So now these trees, now remember in the sunset, or sunrise I'm talking about now, a sunrise has lighter trees. This is dark. So I have to lighten up those trees because they're not silhouetted against the sky. I'm going to show you some samples here. This is a painting I did a while ago. It's quite heavy because it's an oak frame here. But this here is really, if you can see it, it's not really, I wouldn't call sunset, well, more on the sunset than the sunrise. So your trees are darker, correct? So you're going to have more of a silhouette of trees if it's a sunset than a sunrise. Here's another one here. Okay, it's misty again, that mystery. It's more of a darkness in front of it. So when I have a silhouette, I'm intending that to be a sunset. Okay, sunrise doesn't have dark trees. It'll have lighter trees. But, and a bit more mist, that misty feeling. Okay, so now you kind of showed you that. Now, just going to mist all this up a little bit. I'm going to have a spritzer. I have to have a spritzer here. Put some water. I want this really misty. Kind of like misty, misty, misty. I got lots of water in my brush. Lots of water. It's covering up that little guy there. Don't have to worry about him anymore. Okay. Misty here. Okay, now I'll show you a little trick here. Just make that really watery. Now, my special brush. This is a cosmetic brush. Get in the dollar store, really light and fluffy. Make sure it's dry. And now you want to soften it all up. Feels nice in the face. Bring it into my sky. This I'll have to deal with later. I think I'll do a bit more white, maybe a bit in here. It's like a cloud. Don't press too hard, and make sure your paint was really nice and watery. Okay, so that's all right. So now we're going to do the, I think we'll do the background first. We're going to do some browns. And dark browns. And remember, this is quite dark now, but because it's daytime, we don't want it that dark. So we're going to do some browns, maybe in here. I'm going to let some of that gray show through. Cover this up for sure, this heart. This brown's good. This is a very, we call this impressionism realism, like realism with some impressionistic feeling to it. So, but remember, rocks have lots and lots of different colors in them. Rocks are very interesting. If you look at rocks and squint a little bit, you'll see all kinds of colors in them. A lot of purples in rock. Gee, we just took a drive to Vernon. Oh my gosh. On the way there around Oyama, the colors in the rock, it's bright, bright yellow, bright yellow. You think, my gosh, what is in that rock? Gave it such a bright yellow. It's so fun to look at. I'm covering up my name here. It really isn't important. And a little bit of green. Leave some of your old color in there, it's fine. If you're doing this from scratch, it's easier because you're not having to cover up anything. But remember, land isn't perfect, so you don't have to have it a nice straight line. Your rocks are kind of lumpy and bumpy and everything else. And if you start, another little thing too, if you're starting with one color over there, if you don't have a lot of paint of that color, go here and then jump over to here. Make sure you can replicate that color over on the other side. Never have one, work on one space too long, because what happens, you'll get all that one color on one side of the painting, and on the other side you won't have that color. So it really is important to try to work on both sides at the same time. I'm going right across the painting. And so there we go. That's a bit happier, eh? It doesn't look like the old fire anymore anyway. Now I'm going to take, I think I'm going to take a brush like this, and I'm going to now do some trees. So now trees, I'm going to do a bunch of colors. See, I dipped it one, I don't know if you can see here, but I'm dipping it in boom, boom, boom. All my shades of green at the same time. And just wisp it up. Don't need to be too exact with it. Nice dark in there, leave the dark. Leave what I got. Remember, always fill in the middle of your tree, because that's where your trunk is, so there's no air getting in the middle of that tree. That's just trunk. And towards the bottom of the tree, usually it's older, so you're going to put the old part of the tree down below. That goes behind the mountain. And if you put a tree on this side, that color, you have to use the same colors on the other side. Okay? Remember, trees aren't perfect. You can get some pretty odd looking trees. I'm going to go down the middle with this one. So it has an impression of a trunk. Kind of like an old tree. All my colors are blending. See, nice. You don't have to make it perfect. Don't fiddle with it. Don't do it too much. Just giving the impression of a tree. You don't have to. And some are light, some are dark. Leave the dark. If it's an old painting, leave some of that dark in. Remember, the light green will be on the top of the leaves, and the dark is underneath it. And that's going down to here. And that trunk goes right down to the bottom to there. With the old dark green down below. Oop, that turned light. Not the dark green. Don't overdo it. Just as soon as it feels good, let it go. Let it go. If you tend to be like me, I really have to mentally say to myself, stop. Look at it. Don't fiddle anymore. Let it be. So I want to make this perfect. I'm not, oh, that's cut you in my eye. Got to do that. So, got to do that one. That's it. Now these trees are a bit darker. They're kind of in the background, so those trees are faded out. How do we fade out green, everybody? Everybody know? Yoo-hoo! Use red. So complementary of green is red. Remember. So I put a bit of red in these greens. I can even add a little bit of black if I want. Get really crazy. Down it right up. I'm going to just try getting some of this really dark. Black not might work. It's actually better to use the red and green will give you a nicer black than using black. Believe me, if you try getting used to red and green together, it makes the most beautiful black. It's beautiful. You have to fiddle with it a bit, but you can get a beautiful, beautiful, warm, rich black. Okay, now these trees. These are like dead trees. Remember to get your trunk in. Always make sure you get that trunk in. Make sure you fill in the middle. That's all. This one. I'm starting to be finally a bit looser. You know, if you look at my website, Doreen Velin, and you look at some of the paintings I've done here on YouTube, you'll see that a lot of my paintings are what I call tight. Like they're solid, I would say, tight. I was doing a show one time at a gallery, and or was it a winery? And this lady came up to me, she says, I bet your house is really neat. I kind of laughed. I said, well, I don't know, maybe. I said, why would you say that? She said, well, your paintings. It's the way you paint. And I thought, yeah, I guess so. You know, I paint kind of like solid. Like this is hard for me to leave that. And yet I like it, but it's really hard for me to just let it go. And the sky is going to be really brown. Better put some green on. It can't all be dead. It'll look more like a fire then. And we'll just kind of get rid of some of that orange. And I get this green in here. This needs a bit of green. Too brown. We don't want it to be all dead, eh? This is kind of a ghosty tree. That's it. That's it for the trees. And mist. Now, I'm just going to take a bit of soft blue, that soft Delft blue, put lots of water on it, and do a wash now that's dry. That is dry now, that blue. And that soft blue, warm blue I told you about. I don't have quite enough of it, so I have to get some more out. Or mauve. Mauve would be nice too, but I'm just going to take this and sweep this across. Just have the indication that the sun is coming. And it's another nice, beautiful day. And I'm still on this side of the grass. And I'm a happy camper because of it. That's the whole thing, eh? Of life. Be on this side of the grass. Don't want it to be too solid. I want to make it special. There's some little tiny, tiny trees back there that are really tiny. Little shadow trees. They're really, really, really faint. So I'm going to just take all the paint off my brush. And just do some ghost trees back there. I can block it out. That's too much. Just take your... There's block it out. There's make a ghosty. They're in amongst the fog, so you'd only see pieces of them. Ghosty, ghosty, ghosty. That's it. I think that's all I'm going to do. Ooh, look what I did here. I always muck something up. So this is done now. I'm going to just show you this picture. So I turned my dark, dark foreboding picture into a bit of a sunrise. So I want to thank you very much. This was fun. And now we're going to do sunsets after this. So keep watching my videos. I want to thank you very much for joining us. Remember to press that subscribe button if you haven't yet, and the notification bell at the top, and then you'll know when my next one's going to be. Thank you. See you later.